大家好，我是刘荣图律师，我是加州共和党第49选区众议院议员的候选人。我是一个坚定的美国传统价值观和川普的支持者。我的竞选理念是：一、公共安全，打击犯罪；二、教育公平，不分肤色，一份成绩一份学校；三、反对洗脑，捍卫传统。请投我一票。
Hello, everybody. My name is Noah Lee, and as a supporter of Attorney David Liu as your California State District Assembly 49 as a Republican candidate, and today I have a really special guest over here, and we wanted to discuss some special topics regarding public high schools in the district.
I'm Sunny Xu, and as of now, I'm an incoming junior to Arcadia High.
And Sunny, as a current Arcadia High School student, and today I brought you on the show, and first of all, thank you so much for coming. And I wanted to talk about some brief problems that exist in public high school right now. So recently, as what we know, that Governor Newsom signed the bill of AB 1955. And so what AB 1955 is that it destroys the bond of cooperation and trust between schools and parents. So I wanted to ask a brief question. As someone who attends public high school currently, what's the experience? What's it like being attending? So, as someone who currently attends a public high school, what is it like going to school every day and talking with your parents when you're stressed? So yeah, as a current student at Arcadia High School, what's it like going to classes for you? What's the environment like, and what's going to home and talking with your parents about?
Well, from my personal standpoint, everything's just fine for me, but what I did realize is that when I get home, my parents are unusually worried. They ask multiple questions, and I realize this is the result of a lack of communication, and that they're having to ask their the student directly, because the school refuses to give them any information in regards to what the students are doing and what's going on with the students.
So what kind of questions would your parents ask you?
They would ask about what we're being taught mostly. It's not in regards to like science or math, but like more of if indoctrination. They're thinking if they're teaching us like different political views. Okay, so from a personal standpoint, I think it's fine for the student, but when you get home, there's your parents. That as a result of the lack of communication with the school, they have to ask me, the student, for information on what's going on in the school. They're mostly asking what we're being taught, but not in regards to like math or science, but more of whether or not we're being taught to alter our political views or to take part in. Well, I'm not saying that they do, but the parents are worried about that. Well, my parents are worried about that, so they constantly ask about whether or not they are doing said things. So, I mean, I'm not saying that this isn't happening.
Yeah. So, Sunny, what do you mean by altering the political view? Do these current teachers at Arcadia High School are forcing you into a certain political belief?
Well, no. So what I'm saying is that, well, not that I know of, because from my experience, everyone has been perfectly fine. But what I'm saying is that the parents have this mistrust because of this this act being passed, and they from their point of view, they think that something might be going on, that people might be teaching their kids what they don't want their kids learning, and as a result of that, the mistrust has led to parents jumping to conclusions that that are simply untrue. But it is what it is now.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. So, like what you said about your parents having the mistrust and stuff. So, how were you raised, and what do you think that the way that your parents raised you differs from what your classmates at Arcadia High School is raised?
Well, to be honest, from observing other students, I can see that the views on the world it's very diverse. There's obviously people that believe that this act is a good thing. There's also people that believe this is a bad thing. But you know, obviously I mostly communicate with people that, you know, I would agree with.
So, you said about the people you mutually agree with. What kind of topics would you guys talk about outside of school? Because I know that maybe there's certain things you guys would be too sensitive for school. So I was wondering that so you're saying that there's people that you mutually agree with. What kind of topics would you guys talk about? And what are these things that makes you guys agree, but then what other people would disagree?
In simple terms, we usually discuss about, you know, it's not just, you know, limited to school, obviously. There's like different, you know, things that affect, you know, us living and our parents. You know, we talk about the, you know, rising gas prices, but like these don't really affect us directly, but, you know, more of our parents. So, you know, we talk about the different things that are going on, like in regards to politics, such as this act being passed, and we do complain about it occasionally, but we mostly keep to ourselves because, you know, we don't really want to stir up anything.
See, as you can see, guys, current high school students are already thinking about the ongoing problem that's happening within our country, within our state. And they even have complaints within themselves, but then they're afraid to talk about this. So Sunny today already stood up for himself and for these countless people who are trying to silence their thoughts. So what are the complaints that you guys have been talking about? I understand that this act, you guys are firmly believing that this should not be passed. So what are the complaints? How will you guys be discussing that, oh, maybe we should definitely disagree about this? And what made you guys silence your thoughts?
Well, I mean, we have this, why we choose to stay silent is because, well, it's mostly because the reputation of California, it's known for being very liberal and very, you know, prone to beliefs that aren't exactly traditional. So in our minds, we think that maybe this isn't exactly the norm here, and that we shouldn't discuss it as such. I mean, we know that there's the freedom of speech, but, you know, regardless, it's still bound to cause issues if we speak, you know, without limitations.
So, Sunny, as we're speaking, do you go to school with the anticipation of waiting to go home and talking to your parents about how your day went? Or do you go to school with the intention of wanting to, okay, experience your life, but if there's any stress or any problems you're dealing with, I just want to keep it to myself. I don't want to talk to my parents about it.
Well, personally, I don't really want to burden my parents with, you know, my issues, which, you know, I can usually solve myself. So, but I think the issue is when I refrain from communicating, they start to worry that, you know, they start to make assumptions, which is, you know, inherently bad sometimes.
What are these assumptions?
Well, not even my own parents. Like, there's some, well, I know some people that have their kids in elementary schools, and they, and that's, you know, well, frankly, that's quite even worse because, you know, their kids are still developing and they don't really have their own ideas or, you know, knowledge. So, like, as of now, their worldview is still being molded, and when they go home, they have nothing to really report to their parents because to them the adult is always correct. So, I'm more worried about, you know, like, well, my parents already know that.
So, Sunny, what do you think that being raised in the traditional way has helped you for you so far in your own values and in your own interpersonal relationships with classmates, peers, and teachers?
I mean, well, I think it's helped a lot with, you know, me keeping away from, you know, people that, you know, do more, well, let's just say clandestine activities. There's no better way of putting it. Like, for example, you know, drug use and, you know, etc., etc. And drug use, well, I'm not saying like they're using like hardcore narcotics or anything, but I'm just saying like people, it's very common to see someone vaping in the restroom or whatnot, but, you know, I'm not really saying that, you know, that I'm going to like report these people or anything, like, you know, because some of these people they're actually, you know, pretty nice people, but what I'm worried about is that, you know, I mean, it's their health, and it's, you know, it's obviously not exactly very, you know, good for them, but if I'm worrying about like in the future, if say you were a parent or if I was a parent, and the teachers don't have to tell you that your kid is vaping or doing such drugs and etc. I just don't think that this lack of trust, the system is bound to somewhat fail in a way.
So how has these people or your classmates using drugs, especially in the school setting, which is ridiculously enough, but how had they impacted you in school?
Well, they haven't really, well, there's not really an effect on me, but I just think that, I feel bad for the parents, because I'm not sure what their beliefs are, but I'm pretty sure that there are some that, obviously don't want their children to be vaping, and etc.
So, Sunny, how have these people, like you're saying, that affected your classes with drug use, how have they affected you personally by going to school?
Well, for the most part, they haven't affected me personally, but there is this one issue where someone goes to the restroom, they smoke, they trigger the smoke alarms, and then it interrupts testing, working, etc. And I just think I mean, I don't really mind them, but like I do feel bad for their parents if they don't know. I don't know what their views are, so I can't really speak for them. But the thing is, I can't really
I understand, Sunny. As you can see, and as me personally, I graduated from Arcadia High School too in 2021. And this has already been an ongoing issue ever since I started Arcadia High School in 2017. Every year, every semester, there has to be someone, because of them smoking in the restroom, triggering the fire alarm, where the entire school has to stop with education and then all go to the fields to avoid any further problems. Has this still been an ongoing issue even now, currently, until 2024?
Certainly, it has still been an issue. I mean, it's been going on since 9th grade, freshman year, up until now, and I'm pretty sure it's going to continue once I get to senior year. I just think that I don't really mind them, personally, but like I do feel bad for their parents, but I don't know what their view is, so I can't really be speaking for them. But like it's gotten to the point where they have to disrupt other people's education, then that's where it's sort of becoming an issue.
It's ridiculous. I think that in our country especially is that we should really value the gift of education, and sending kids to public or private high schools is a blessing to us teenagers, because they're so many years behind in other countries and our country that people weren't able to get formal education. And the fact that we're able to have all these education and being able to proceed as a society is because how we pass on education in general. And I can't believe that people who are being blessed are, invading like the gift of education. So yeah, to everyone who's out there looking right now, I really wanted you to think from when I was an alumni of Arcadia High School. So to the fellow people who are looking at this right now, from me back in 2017, when I entered as a freshman at Arcadia High School, up until now, 2024, in the incoming junior at Arcadia High School, this issue is still happening. After 7 years, it hasn't stopped. Please always think about and look around. Things are still happening. There are problems within California. There are problems. Our country is in danger. And so, this is why I show my full endorsement to Attorney David Liu, because he will listen to your voices. He will help us try to solve the problems.
So I think in general, to solve these issues, we definitely need unity. And with David, I think we can definitely achieve this goal of being unified to, it's democracy. So if there's more people against something, then, it will eventually change.
So yeah, thank you so much for talking to me, Sunny.
Thank you.
We really learned a lot from you. Thank you.